Hello right bags, it's Jade Plays Games. Welcome to the Dayz Impressions review. It is on Xbox One, it's been out a couple of weeks now. You guys know I've been loving it. I've been streaming it, I've been making guides, I've been making skits. You guys should know that I really enjoy playing the game, but that doesn't mean I think the game's great. So I'm going to be giving you my honest opinions about what Dayz is currently at right now on the Xbox One. I'm going to talk a little bit about the future of Dayz, and I'm not going to delve too much into the past, as I've spoken about this quite extensively in other videos. Go and check out everything you need to know about Dayz, and Dayz is not dead, or it was dead. I can't remember the name of that title of that video, but it spoke a lot about the history. The reason being, Dayz is definitely polarising, and I guess it's very interesting to see how communities react to it. There's no getting away from the fact that there is a lot of negativity around Dayz, from the years of development hell on PC and the fact it's taken this long to come to console. There certainly is a lot of negative comments in my sections, and to be fair, it's probably the most I've ever seen. Now, I cover a lot of different games. I cover a lot of early access games. If you're new to my channel or you're new to this video, that is generally what I do. I cover games that I like as well, and I'll do update videos on popular games, but generally it's early access games, indie games, survival games. That's my main thing. So I often see lots of negativity in my comment section because people want to moan, they want to have a bitch, they want to talk and get their frustrations out about the games they're playing because they're in early access, they've got lots of problems, and I've reported on lots of them problems across Ark Survival Evolved, 7 Days to Die, as well as other games as well like Conan, Subnautica, you name it. I've covered issues that have affected survival games or early access games in the last 2.5 years. I kid you not, I thought covering Fallout 76 was bad with the fanboys of that game and series, but my gosh, I was not ready for the level of negativity that surrounds Dayz. Now, it isn't just directed towards me, actually a lot of it is just purely the game, so thank you for not all just disliking the videos just because you don't like the game, but there certainly is more negative comments about Dayz than I've ever seen on any other game on my channel in 3 years of properly doing this. So I want to put that into context when I'm talking about stuff, and I want the people that are really salty about Dayz, that really have followed Dayz from PC development, I want you to put that aside, because we could sit here all day bitching about the history of Dayz and the problems it's faced, but that isn't relevant because this is Xbox One version. This is the version that Xbox fans are picking up for the first time, and so I really truly believe you have to pick it up like that. You have to review it and you have to give impressions about what the game currently is right now. Not how long it took for development, not the problems it faced, not the dev team, but what the game currently is right now, and I'm going to give you my honest opinion. Straight off the bat, Dayz is quite expensive, considering we've got survival games coming out at around £15, £20, which is about $30. The fact it is $40 makes it one of the most expensive early access games that is released on the Xbox One. Ark came out about £27, I do believe. Conan came out around the same price, maybe a little bit cheaper. In fact, I can't think of an early access game that's been more expensive than Dayz. That may be down to inflation, that may be down to a lot of things, but it certainly is a negative against it. Considering, yes, the amount of time it has spent in gestation, the problems the devs did have, I think they could have done absolute wonders for PR if they'd produced the game and made it a lot cheaper in early access, or at least the same price as PC. To get this out of the way, most games that come to Xbox One do increase their price when they launch on Xbox One, in early access or not. Even on PC, this game is around $22.99, $23.99, so it's around a £7 increase. You would think that's maybe not that much, but time and time again the comments in my videos are it's too expensive for what it is, and I have to agree, and that comes to my very first real proper criticism of the game itself. There's nothing in the game. There is absolutely no big systems in the game. It is very light. Dayz really is about what you make with a very basic premise, surviving. It's a hardcore survival game. Let's make sure everyone knows that, because that is something I've seen again in the comments. Why doesn't it have this? Why doesn't it have that? What's this? What's that? It's meant to be difficult by default. It's meant to make you really think about approaching other players and whether or not the risk and reward from going town to town is worth it sometimes, or that desperate struggle to get food. You're not meant to just run around and be OP within your first play session. You're meant to die time and time again until you learn the systems. Some of DayZ does require luck, but it also requires you to actually put hours into the game so you can assess where things are on the map. Lots of you have been shouting out that I should be using a map that shows locations, but when you do stuff like that, you generally don't learn where things are. So I've been taking it at my own pace. I've been running around the map, trying to learn landmarks, looking at the countryside, the scenery. The map is absolutely huge. Absolutely huge. It's something stupid like 256 kilometers or something crazy like that. I could be slightly wrong on that, but it's massive. And so the idea that you're meant to learn all that is quite daunting, but that's what DayZ is. It doesn't make any apologies, and devs have stated time and time again, it's a hardcore survival game. Now that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be light on content, but at the moment, right now, in its current state, the current build on Xbox One and the build that's going to be there for a good few weeks or maybe even a few months, it's too light. There's not enough features in the game to make it more interesting for slightly less hardcore players. If you're only going to be going for the hardcore player, you're really not going to make that much sales. So as a games company, you want people to buy your game. If they added a few more features that have been in the past for DayZ, I think this game would have got more of a positive reception and will continue to get more positive reception. Until they start regularly adding content, which is going to be some weeks away because they're still stabilising and fixing stuff, I really do feel like DayZ has shot itself in the foot a little bit. There's no building, I mean, base building's not going to be a thing in the game anyway. It's more like barricading stuff. You're going to be able to set up maybe tents and barrels, and that's about the limit of what you could build as a base. The idea of building structures isn't really going to be there and never has been. So that isn't in the game. You haven't got things like fishing aren't in the game, hunting. These are crucial elements that I would say make up a good survival game. If you're going to have to fend for yourself, it can't just be about running after tins of tuna. You do need other ways to catch food, and that is DayZ's big problem. They just haven't got enough systems at the moment to make it a compelling argument to spend £31 on this game. If you want a good survival experience with lots of features and lots of items in it and a good story but still be really hardcore, The Long Dark is probably the best game out there for that kind of experience as a true survival game. And bear in mind, I'm talking about how DayZ is at right now and how it launched. They may implement lots of new features for it, but I don't want to give a review or give you impressions based on stuff that might not happen or won't happen for a while. That would give you a disservice, and that makes me kind of a shit YouTuber. I hype games up a lot because I like the idea of games. I like looking at the trailers, I like seeing the news and information, and when I start to play the game, you're all generally geared up because you're enjoying it. Of course, that hype sometimes dies. That hype can be quickly cut short because you start to realise the game isn't what you thought it was. DayZ doesn't really do that because I've actually relieved the hype wasn't there for DayZ for me. I knew it was going to be a little bit bare bones. I played it a couple times on PC. I knew the kind of features it had in it. So it wasn't a surprise or shock to me that it doesn't have more features that have been in the game in the past. And if you don't know, features are going to be coming back supposedly from lots of development blogs. They've basically took stuff out of this current build because they had to upgrade the engine, and they upgraded a bunch of other stuff like animations, core systems. They made the game look prettier, run well, run better with brand new animations. That took some considerable time, and it meant they had to take things back to the drawing board a little bit. So lots of features that have been in DayZ, like I said, the base building or the base barricading and stuff like that, they're not going to be in the game for a while, but they were originally. And that goes for vehicles too. Vehicles is probably the number 4th, 5th comment I see from people saying it needs vehicles. It does, absolutely. And I have no idea why they had to take vehicles out and leave some of the other systems in. To me, I can't see it being as that much of an issue, but hey, I'm not a games developer. But that is definitely the biggest criticism as well, that it just doesn't have vehicles in it, and that really makes people's enjoyment of this game a bit hard to take. It is a literally walking simulator. I am being really super critical, by the way, and I'm going to be really super harsh because there are going to be some good things, and I'm going to explain something to you that you're probably going to take as a surprise. So, missing core features, doesn't have the features in it at the moment. We have no idea of when they're meant to be coming, other than what I've dug up. Hopefully, before the end of this year, we're going to get a lot more features, as it is exactly the same version as PC. But of course, PC has had lots of problems getting their updates and content added to their version. So the idea that Xbox is going to just suddenly get all this content in the next month is absolutely false. If you're expecting vehicles, expecting all that sort of stuff, unless Bohemia are pulling up some sort of mega update, don't expect that type of stuff. the early access version of on the Xbox is going to be in-game preview until next year. Supposedly when the game hits beta on PC, that's when a lot of the content's going to come back, like vehicles, like maybe fishing, like some of the other stuff. There are some things that won't be here for a while, like you can grow your own crops and plants in the past. That's not going to be coming at all until next year. Again, bear in mind, lots of this can change because developers don't really have a very good communication system for what they've actually got in the game currently. They've been very good at starting to talk to the fans more in the last year, maybe 18 months. They've been doing weekly status reports, they've been more active on social media, and they've been really trying, by the looks of things, to turn a negativity around their studio around. However, it's still not good enough not to give a substantial breakdown of what this current build currently has. There has been no attempt by them to say what's on Xbox, what isn't on Xbox. I've reached out to them a couple times in various different ways. I've gone through lots of different forum posts. You'll be hard pressed to find exactly what's in this current build and what isn't. Now the devs are saying that they're taking stuff in and out, and that's why there isn't necessarily a up-to-date version of what the game has in it or doesn't have in it, but that's not good enough. I think early access games need to keep their fans filled in with information, and that's crucial if you want people to believe in the game and carry on playing the game knowing that some content is going to be coming soon. If they know what content's in the game, it makes their life a lot easier. I can't remember how many questions I've had asking if features are in the game because no one really knows, because it's so hard to actually get to that point. So you get the idea. Communication needs to be better with the game, and in terms of features wise, it's really lacking. Unless you really enjoy the grind of going around and gathering items, you're not going to enjoy this game. I do enjoy the game though, and this is where we come to the bit of surprise. We're going to talk about graphics, we're going to talk about sound and some of the combat stuff, but I love the game. I absolutely love it. I've just trashed it for 10 minutes, but I really genuinely love playing this game. I think playing it in an environment where I'm streaming it has been amazing. I really love the interaction that I can talk to people when things are a bit quiet, and then when you come across someone, it makes this quite boring, sluggish, non-eventful game into something truly special, something that isn't available on any other game. You don't get this playing Ark Survival Evolved, you don't get this type of feeling playing Conan. Vigor has tried to do something along them lines, but it still feels more like a battle royale. Dayz really is unique on console. There is no other game like this currently out there. There's a problem for Dayz. Server hopping, I think, needs to be adjusted. I don't necessarily think you have to take or change your character every time you jump to a different server, but I actually think there should be some sort of payment system. If you do decide to jump servers, maybe you've got to give up an item. That would be crazy if you had to give up a gun or a weapon. Or maybe they could involve some sort of points. You know, if you've got 100 points through being on a server for 100 minutes, then it costs 10 points to chop to another server. I don't know, these are just ideas, but at the moment the server hopping's a problem because people are just getting tooled up, jumping from server to server, hoovering up the best gear, and then jumping up and making life hell for anyone else that joins new. But again, that's also part of the fun of Dayz for me. In a survival experience game like this is, where the world has gone to shit, there's no other survivors around, or not that many, it's kill or be killed. You can play the game how you want. People keep complaining that it gets shot first on sight. Big whoopee-doo. That's what you might possibly do if you come into this situation where you're on your own in a country where there's zombies and there's very few players. Are you going to really trust someone you come across? I'd probably shoot them first too. I think lots of people have grown up on YouTube videos of Dayz where YouTubers have made friends with people, they've done skits, they've made sort of storytelling escapades, maybe even role-playing with other players. But of course that isn't always true. Even on PC, there's still plenty of douchebags that go around just shooting you as soon as they see you. So, training, learning how to deal with that situation is part of the Dayz experience. Not going straight up to someone, finding secret spots to stay and look out on the scenarios, trying to check out big loot areas and making sure you approach slowly, methodically, checking the landscape, seeing if there's anyone around you. This is all part of the game. It isn't a battle royale where you just jump from one town to the other getting the loot. You've got to be really conscientious of what's around you. You've got to take it slowly sometimes, and again I think that's the big problem that a lot of people are having playing Dayz. It's too slow and it's too methodical for them. They're crying their eyes out about getting shot once they get good loot, or there not being enough loot, but they're just not putting enough time into the game to really enjoy it. If you're nothing but a beach scrub hanging around the coasts, you're going to find no loot. You need to go into town, but of course, or into country. That takes a lot of effort getting to even that point where you've got enough food and enough water. So I get the game's hard, but it's meant to be. It makes no apologies for that, and I make no apologies for enjoying the game the way it is currently. And it makes me wonder then, if I'm enjoying the game despite not having any content, despite having server issues, despite not really knowing what's in the game, what am I going to do when they do add these options to it? How am I really going to feel when they start adding vehicles? I'm going to be over the moon because it adds even more to the game, and I'm enjoying the game already. So I can't wait for more features to come to Dayz. But then again, I'm also happy enough just running around grinding and betraying anyone that I come across. We'll go briefly over looks and sound because that stuff doesn't really matter to me as much, to be honest. It's meant to be 60 frame rates per second or 30. That's what's going to be in the full release version. On that, currently right now, I'd say it's a probably stable 30 to 40. Looks wise, I think it looks great. I think it looks amazing. I think it's definitely one of the better games out there of this type of game. I'm not saying it's like on God of War type graphics, but certainly out of early access games I've seen and games that are using similar style engines, it looks pretty decent. I believe I am running around a huge country. I believe it's got mountains and hills and lakes. It really does feel very fleshed out. Sure, there's lots of pop-ins sometimes, and sometimes terrain doesn't always load in correctly, but I am just still quite impressed with it. I'm glad they took it back and they've worked really hard on making the game look better, because the game was dated. It was dated from 2013. So the idea of them releasing that version in 2018 or 19 is absolutely crazy. No wonder they took it back and have started working more and more to implement better features and make it look better. Sound wise, I think the sound's pretty decent as well. I haven't really got a problem with the zombos or players' footsteps being loud enough, etc. It's pretty good. The zombies' noises are pretty loud, distinctive. You know when they're going to attack you because they do that regurgitation sound. I'm quite happy where sound is at the moment. You can hear little birds and bees sometimes or tweeting away. It's pretty good. It's pretty decent. So I've gave you my overall experience of playing it, but let's get into some more gameplay issues, particularly things like UI. And you know, I have trashed the game a bit, and I'm going to trash it even more now for 2 minutes, but bear with me. The UI is terrible. The inventory management is probably one of the worst I've seen on a AAA sort of schedule. Well, I say AAA, it's not a AAA game of course, but it feels like it's been in gaming history so long, it's got more relevance and it's got a pedigree, and it just hasn't learned from other games. You look at games like Vigor or PUBG, some people hate them inventory systems, but they're a lot better than how you would play it with a controller on other games in the past, or on the PC games that have been converted or ported over. And Dayz just hasn't really learned. I think in their terms, they wanted to keep it simple. They want to keep the experience of inventory management quite simple. They don't want loads of pages like 7 Days to Die where you have to flick through 7 or 8 bumpers using the RB, R1 or whatever. But it's maybe just a little bit too simple. When it works, if they've added more shortcuts to it, and when the inventory does work and the UI does work, that's going to make it a lot easier or better. But right now it's broken. We all know, if you don't know, catching up on my vids and streams, the UI is pretty shitty, it's pretty buggy, the inventory management system is pretty buggy, it doesn't necessarily show you stuff correctly, you can't always combine stuff correctly, you have to drop a lot of your items and put them on the floor. These are all problems and issues that come with early access. So I don't want to be too critical on it, but I think given the amount of time they've had and the amount of beta testing they've already had before they even released it to the public, because this has been around for a good few months now, I do feel they could have probably spent a bit more time on the controller, getting it nice and tight, making more shortcuts, giving Xbox One people that are used to playing games like these a little bit more freedom with the controllers, the buttons and stuff. They should definitely talk to the people that make Vigor. They're under the same company, different development teams. They should literally just go and borrow the system from them and see if they can input it. I mean, I'm sure it's going to take more work than that. It's not that simple, of course, but I really feel like they're letting themselves down by not making the inventory system more unique for console. It does seem to have been just ported over from PC with just a couple buttons made a little bit extra for console. I think they should really try the extra effort to make it exclusively something for Xbox that works, rather than trying to port over something from PC. And that is it. I could bitch and moan about the fact there's no loot. I could bitch and moan about the fact there's not that many zombies around, and there's not very good indicator statuses about when you've been injured. But again, some of that is down to the game. It's meant to be hardcore survival. It doesn't want to tell you every 2 seconds you're bleeding, you know, or remind you. It wants you to work that kind of stuff out for yourself. It wants you to learn that if you get into an altercation with a zombie, you're going to get damaged and you're going to get hurt regardless, unless you're really super lucky. Lots of this will change as well, and that's where we come into the next bit. I'll give you probably my good impressions of how it's running right now, and obviously when it comes to the future, I'm sure a lot of that's going to change. But it isn't a deal breaker for me. It really isn't. I'm enjoying the game immensely, and I'm going to continue enjoying the game. So I'm going to be doing quite a bit more content on it. So the question is, should you buy Dayz? Let's summarise. If you're a hardcore survival games person, you like the idea of playing something a bit harder, a bit more tougher, you will like this game. If you're someone that's enjoyed Ark or Conan but never really stuck with it too much, you're going to hate this game. If you're someone that liked The Long Dark, you may enjoy this game, but you will get very frustrated at the lack of content, at the lack of features available currently in this build. The items, the way you can't really craft too much, the way that the environment doesn't offer that much of a threat other than some zombies and obviously other players. It may be something that just stops you. The price, like I says, does hinder the casual person, the inquisitive person, someone that's maybe sitting on the fence about it from trying it. But of course, you do get to try this for an hour for free. So if you haven't tried your free trial, I'd say give it a little while longer until the servers are more stable, until the game's maybe had maybe one more update. Then jump in and give it a try for free as part of the game preview program on Xbox. You can try it for free for an hour. If you're someone that plays Battle Royales, you're not going to enjoy this game. If you're someone that really doesn't like very slow, grindy games, you're not going to enjoy this game, so don't buy it. But for them people, it doesn't sound like many, that do like survival, that do like grindy games, that can put up with making their own type of content, because that's what you have to do. You have to make your own fun in this game. I think Dayz is one of the best games out there, and it always has been, and that's why I've always been intrigued by it. Because the stories, the gameplay that you create is the fun that you can have, basically. Be an absolute bastard, shoot everyone on sight. Be a betrayer like me, pretend to be friendly and then shoot them in the back. Or be a Samaritan, go and help people at every left turn. Make yourself a pirate, go from coast to coast, raiding anyone that turns up. Build yourself an empire, recruit new tribes, go on different sites, use Facebook, Discord, get players to come and join you and take over and be a roving band of bandits. There are so many possibilities if you want to put that time into it. If you're waiting for things to happen to you while you're playing this game, nothing's going to happen to you other than you're going to die of starvation. Dayz is not perfect. It's still a buggy mess, and it really doesn't feel like it's moved on too much from all the problems and issues it's had on PC in the last few years. But the sheer fact that Xbox doesn't have any real competition like this, and the fun that I have had while playing this game, makes it a buy for me. But I don't think it's a buy for most people. So I'm hoping they'll update considerably. I'm hoping they're going to add and change lots of features to the UI and bring back lots of the core features that they took out of the game while they've worked on the engine. If they get that, despite all probability, they could have one of the best survival games to come out on a console. If they don't sort these problems out, if they don't add more features, if they don't sort the buggy UI, the infantry systems, it is going to go down as another black mark in Dayz's history. And there you go, that's my thoughts and opinions on Dayz. I've done this pretty quick, all more or less in one sitting recording. I want to keep it as quick and snappy and really give you what I'm thinking straight off the top of my head. I am Jade Plays Games. Expect more Dayz coverage. I'm going to keep you guys up to date when it's being updated, what content's coming to it, and I'm going to carry on doing tutorials and guides because quite frankly I'm enjoying it. I'm absolutely loving playing Dayz. Bugs, glitches, problems and salt. Take it all in. I'm still loving this game.